you beautiful people? My name is Davivier, and I'm joined by Abe and Charlie Medeiros. Welcome to the Redox Cinema Podcast. And wow, guys, what a finale. Wow, that was insane. And before we get into the discussion, Abe and Charlie, how are you guys feeling after watching that?
Sad. Sad. I'm sad it's over.
Yeah, I'm sad it's over, but I love how they did that episode. We'll talk about that in a bit, but it was awesome. It was awesome.
It was awesome. And for people who are coming in, add your comments, please talk to us. We want to get this conversation going. But wow, I think the first thing we want to address here is that this episode specifically felt very similar to the game, even when Joel started in the hospital all the way up until the ending. Yeah. And obviously I want to start with the ending first, and then we'll move backwards. But with the ending, Abe, you knew the ending. Mm-hmm. It was exactly the same thing. You know, how did it feel for you seeing it in live action now?
I think a lot of the same emotions came back, honestly, and I think that's exactly what you kind of wanted, right? You just see that the despair of Joel and like how determined he is to just make sure that Ellie comes out alive regardless of the consequence. And I don't know, man. Again, like just like you said, it felt like I was playing the game again. And I'm still trying to digest it. Like, I'm not to be controversial, but like, I don't know if I wanted it to be exactly like the game for the finale.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Like, I was waiting for the point in this where I'm like, what are they going to do differently? And I didn't feel like we got
really, but they did things a lot differently. I mean, we got the backstory with Ellie's mom.
That's true.
And how that worked out.
That's true.
Yeah. It added more, I think, more drama and elevated the scope of the entire story with Marlene as well. Mm-hmm. And Marlene having that connection with Ellie. So I think we did get a different approach to it.
That's fair.
Because in the game, we don't really know as much about Ellie's backstory and her mother. All we know is essentially her backstory is the whole Riley DLC. That's what we learn about in the first game, right?
Yeah, I would say that a lot of the changes that we got though were right in the beginning, and then everything else is pretty much what you get from the end of the game.
That's exactly what I mean. Yeah. Like we got the backstory, like a backdrop to it, and why it should mean more. But I almost felt like it almost felt like a thing for people who like didn't play the game at all. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I don't know, but I don't know. It was very well done. Don't get me wrong. It was very, very well done. But I don't know why in my head I was like, what are they going to do that's different? And it wasn't. Mm-hmm. And I'm still trying to digest whether or not I needed something to be different or whether they just did it perfect justice. You know what I mean? But it was a good episode. I can't knock the episode.
Yeah, no, you can't. Were you reading things before?
No.
Like, no, you were reading nothing. So you were going, okay.
I was going in blind.
Wow. Yeah. All right. For you, Charlie, specifically, what was starting from the end as well? Did you feel satisfied with this ending, or you're on Abe's side where, you know, maybe you wanted to see something differently?
I don't think anyone is satisfied with that ending, whether you played the game or whether you're watching the show.
Yeah, facts. Yeah. Satisfied is definitely not a
word. You want more, exactly. Did you feel like you wanted more?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, okay, there we go.
Of course, and I know like what comes next because I've played probably maybe would you say half of part 2? I don't know. You saw me playing it. That was the last time I played it when you were like, yo, you're far. You have a lot to go still.
Yeah, you're still far, bro.
Yeah. So I know what's coming next, but it's like, dang, now I gotta wait 3 years to see what comes next. And then part of me is like, do I even want to finish the game now? Because I would actually love to see some of this story play out, not knowing anything.
Yeah.
Wow. I know, Abe, you're also like that too.
Bro, I'm not going to lie to you. The more and more I watch this show, I'm like, bro, someone like lobotomize me and like take the memory out of my head about the video game. Because the show was that good to the point where I was like, I just want to experience it again. You know that how you watch like one of your favorite movies for the first time
and if
ever.
you can go back and watch it again for the first time. Yeah.
I so badly wanted that with this, and it's just like an impossible thing to conceive because like obviously you've played it already, you know what the story is going to bring you, but it doesn't take away from the performance. So yeah, I kind of agree with Charlie. I'm gonna have to really like be disciplined and not play the game because I've been meaning to finish part 2 for a while. I got pretty far in part 2, so I think I had like 30-ish% left to finish.
Wow.
But like honestly, I'll like maybe up to like halfway. I think it's blurred for me, so I don't know what I'm gonna do for the next season. If I'm gonna play the game beforehand or not.
You're gonna risk waiting 2 years when you can go back to a medium who has been that's very impactful, and it's highlighting how video game stories are like The Last of Us are insane, right? And it's highlighting the emotion that people have felt with this story and what it's brought the community and everyone. And you're just gonna be like, nah, I'll just wait.
You know why? Because I think honestly, if I had to say something, I would say that of which medium I would prefer to consume better. Maybe this is a hot take. I would prefer to watch the show and then play the game, because the immersion that you get from the game and playing those characters is so different, and it elicits a different type of emotion that like you can't recreate that. So like if I could see the story for the first time and be like, oh my God, this is incredible, and then play it as a video game, I wonder how I would feel. I wonder if that would be more enhancing. So that's why I'm almost to the point where I'm like, I'm not going to touch it at all and just wait so I can watch the whole thing and then play it. Because right now I want to play part 1.
You want to go back and play
I want to go play part 1. Yeah. And just see how I feel through all of it and like see if it's more engaging for me to play it. I don't know. But it's the games are there. I mean, you can say the same thing for books that are adapted. Like people don't always go, like I could go see all of the things that happen in House of the Dragon most likely right now if I wanted to, but I'm not gonna because I want to watch it in the show and I want to experience it that way. So yeah, it's we'll see if I'm able to hold out that long, because honestly, The Last of Us is one of those things that you're just like we were waiting for so long for it to get here, and now it's gone. It came and gone so quick. Yeah, and I'm like, damn, I want it again. So who knows if I'll be able to last. Not playing part 2 until the next season comes out.
We'll see with that. I mean, going back to the beginning of this episode, we got a backstory to Ellie's mother, who is played by the original voice actress, who is Ashley Johnson. And Charlie, that was a incredible scene. And you said, while we were reacting to this, you said, I have never seen a zombie scene be done like that.
Right.
What was it for you that stood out, and why was it so impactful?
The fact that she was fighting a zombie and then just gave birth. I have not seen. That's a new one. That's a new one for sure. And yeah, it's like that scenario happening, and then all the questions that come afterwards is like, oh my God, like, is she going to survive this? How's the baby going to survive? How's the baby going to eat? Who's going to raise it? Are they both going to die together? Type of thing. Like, obviously we know that the baby doesn't die because Ellie, grows to be a teenager, but I haven't seen that done in a zombie thing before. And also Ashley Johnson was really, really good. And
yeah, she was.
When she's like running into that house and starts like screaming for help and stuff, her voice sounded exactly like Ellie.
It's Ellie's
in
voice.
The game, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Just nuts. Just flashbacks to the game.
And I'm kind of glad that, because I in the last episode when we got the voice actor for Joel, a lot of times I was hearing it and it was kind of like taking me out. Not in a bad way, because like I'm glad that they brought those people in, but it's like you just go to the game, you know what I mean? Like your brain goes there. So while I really enjoyed Ashley Johnson's cameo in it, I'm glad that it was like kind of the beginning and then they kind of wrap a bow on it and then you move on. Because I feel like it would have been really weird to hear Ellie's game voice like throughout the entire episode. I would have been like, oh my God, this is so like jarring. You know what I mean?
Yo, you're right. Yeah. There were some points where I was like, oh wow, it's literally Ellie. And now fast forwarding, we get the Joel and Ellie dynamic and how we got that that switch where Joel was now the one that was trying to cheer up Ellie because of what went down past 8 episodes and also what they were heading into.
Mhm.
And it was, again, a very monumental point in Joel's life because he is realizing that he's not looking at Ellie not just as a friend anymore, but as a daughter. And we see consistently how he's bringing up Sarah. He's being like, oh, Sarah was like this, but you're not like this, but you guys would have gotten along so well, and you guys would have loved each other. About that dynamic, what stands out to you after we saw the 9 episodes go out? I think for me was specifically was that switch and how he looked at Sarah now as, not Sarah, I mean Ellie, as if, it was his second daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly why you mixed it up. Because I think he's starting to mix it up. It's like he wants her to be Sarah for him, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I saw from that exchange. And he's always like, he's saying all these little things like comparing her to Sarah, that I think maybe Ellie is even getting annoyed of a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's like, I'm never going to be your daughter. Like, I'm never going to be like her,
I think he knows that because he at the end he pointed out, he's like, she was more girly and,
He knows like the little subtle differences and stuff, but for him to take the actions that he did and just go through and maul all those people to save her shows you the significance that she has to him.
Yeah.
As basically a daughter type of relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's important for us to talk about that decision for the people who obviously haven't played the game and just watching the show.
Right.
And I wanted to ask you guys, like, what, just in general, your thoughts on the decision. I know we've both seen this before. We know that it was going to happen before we watched this episode, but your decision on Joel's decision on saving Ellie, and basically like ending all possibility of a cure.
Yeah, no, that is it's a tough decision to make. It is. But if you look at it from a perspective where you don't know these people personally, you just like a bird's eye view essentially.
Mm-hmm.
I personally believe that Joel is wrong, right? Because they potentially could save humanity, right? Like that's the only shot they got to save millions of people.
Yeah.
It's like, why not take that shot? But then you look at it from a perspective where we got the intimate relationship. We got where they were on this journey and where they built a very strong father-daughter dynamic. You're like, man, he's doing everything to protect the person that he loves. The only person now that he has, because, Tommy's getting married, having a baby, building out his own life. All Joel has is Ellie. So I think that's where you battle it, where it's like, I mean, let's look at it from an outside perspective. Joel, you're a dumbass. Like, figure it out. But then you're like, wait, hold on. Let's look at it from a personal level. When you look at it from a personal level, you're like, man, especially in a world that they're living.
That's true.
Yeah.
And Vito is agreeing with you.
Yeah. Bro, Joel's wrong.
Shout out Vito. Said Joel's wrong.
I think there's a lot of dynamics in Joel's decision that like makes it messy.
Yeah.
One, the whole humanity thing, right? But you look at the fact that he basically like, in a way, like he was fighting having this relationship, this father-daughter relationship, the entire time with Ellie, and now that he's finally giving in, he's falling into some pretty negative parent tropes.
Yeah.
Like the overprotectiveness, like you're choosing for your child. Like, you know what I mean? Like all this stuff that, he didn't even tell Ellie the truth. One, he's lying to her. And two, she had no say in that choice, right?
Exactly.
She had no idea that it's about, she could have saved humanity, regardless if she died. She could have been the one to save humanity. And she had no choice in that. So it's like, now Joel is like, he was resisting so much being a father, and as soon as he gets into it, now he's falling into all of the really messy things of like parenthood. Which is like, it's a crazy dynamic to compare like saving the entire planet versus like being a good parent.
Right.
Wow. Vitor said he would, if he was in Joel's position, he would do the same thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like
exactly.
The protective parent instincts come in, and it's like, the Papa Bear, Mama Bear type scenario. What would you do to save your offspring? Or it's not his offspring, but he's treating her
Your
like
child.
it is.
Your child.
And I probably would do the same as Joel, even though it's wrong. I'm not gonna lie. Like, yeah, you have an emotional connection to that person. What are you supposed to do? It's tough. It's tough.
Here's my thing. I agree. I actually am very torn because I don't know what I'd be able to do, because I think about it in a couple ways. One, I think like the right thing to do would be save humanity, right? And the right thing to do would be like, I would fight them and be like, you have to tell her.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to tell her what she's doing.
Yeah, it's unethical if they didn't tell Ellie.
Yeah, because I mean, it's crazy because they're like, well, this is the only shot. So like the instant reaction is like, we have to do it regardless. So we can't risk her being like, no. But you know, that's the ethical way to do it, and that's what I would be fighting for. But also, like, I don't know if I would be able to live with the guilt of like what he did, because like he actively destroyed humanity's only hope, and he did that for selfish reasons. And that's the kind of thing that, like, how do you sleep at night? You know what I mean? So that's where I very much have a difficulty being like, one way or the other, this is what I would choose. You know what I mean? I honestly have no idea.
No, it's I think you're valid in what you're saying, and I think we're not parents, right? None of us are parents. I mean, if there's parents in the chat,
moms and dads, what's going on?
I want to know your parental view on this, because
you giving up your kid?
Would you kill all those people in the
poll
hospital?
our parents after. Anyone in the chat right now, ask your mom or dad. Would they give you up to save humanity?
Well, here's the other thing I was going to say too, is like, does Joel have, or anyone for that matter, have any guarantee that what they were going to try on her was actually going to work? That's another thing too.
True.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's risky. It was going to be the first time that they actually can experiment with something like that, because they found someone that's actually immune. So, obviously they didn't give us that type of explanation, but you got to think that that's possibly in the back of Joel's mind. Like, this is experimental, 100%.
Yeah. No, I mean, at the beginning of the season, he was like, "How is that even possible? There's still doctors alive that can work on
surgeons.
Surgeons, right. Doctors who can create a technology in the environment that we're living." I think that's always been in the back of his mind. Yeah. Knowing that, do you even have the facilities to do all this? You know, is it even possible with the technology? Because everything is destroyed.
It's true. And Gabe doesn't think any parent would.
He doesn't think any parent would give up their child.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
I don't think so either. I agree with that.
I would definitely say the vast majority would not. Yeah.
Because the love that a parent has for their children is, well, people tell me it's there's nothing like it.
I mean, you feel it too. You know the way your parents love you. It's like, it's different than any type of connection, than any sort of other relationship.
Victor said he ain't got that Abraham spirit in him. That's true. He's not gonna sacrifice his only son.
Facts, bro. You don't know what we've been through.
Humanity. Yeah.
But I think what's also significant about this, that's not his daughter.
Yeah.
Right, but the thing is, the relationship that they've had.
It's the trauma bond.
Right, yeah. And they've survived together and all of that. It brings that connection to the point where he feels the need to save her life. Like, he can't risk it. But with Marlene, I did have that question earlier, and now I think I just answered my own question. Marlene seems like she had no relationship with Ellie, even though she's the one who took her into her own hands from her mother dying.
Yes.
So Marlene was totally fine with, well, she was torn a little bit. You could see it. She was like, I promised her mother that I would, keep her alive and take care of her and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, she still made the decision to sacrifice Ellie.
Maybe that's what I would have loved seeing in this episode. Because there are things that we've gotten in this season that have enhanced the story, and it's like additional backstory things. And they gave us a little bit of that, because we saw that Marlene, took care of her mom and whatever. And so we got a little bit of backstory of that. But now, like, we only got that little snippet, and now Marlene's dead. So, like, there's no more getting any of that backstory. So I would have loved to see, maybe a little bit of more of her relationship with Ellie's mom, and then, B, her finding out potentially that Ellie could have a cure and her dealing with that, because it's like all we get is Marlene just focused on like, this is what has to be done. and Joel's completely opposed. So I would have maybe liked to see her coming to that conclusion. You know what I mean? Because I think it'd be more it would be interesting to see that dynamic play out, and I think it would add a little more depth to the character of Marlene. But again, like this episode, I think was a really I think the issue with this episode was something that, like, the ending of the game is the most distinct thing in The Last of Us Part 1. And if the show did it wrong, people would be upset.
Exactly, because with the question that Gabe is asking, you guys think that this adaptation gave hope to other video games, movies, and shows adaptation because, you know, they did the ending copy and paste. Exactly. Like point blank, like the exact cuts, everything was done to the same degree. What do you think about that? Do you think we'd get hope now for more adaptations coming soon?
Yeah, I mean, we've gotten plenty of video game adaptations. Whether they're good is the question. This was probably
none of them are good.
None of them are really good.
This one that I can think of. I can't remember another one that's actually good.
Not off the top of my head.
I can't either.
Yeah.
If you guys
the Sonic games.
Yeah.
The Sonic movie was all right.
That's not. Yeah, that's not.
But that's not even like a real
or anything.
Yeah, it's not even a real storyline. But like, this is the thing with it, right? Like, I don't know. We knew exactly what was happening, and I wonder what our emotion would have been like if we were seeing the show for the first time. And then the question is like, is the point then of adapting to give something back to the original, you know, the people who played the game? Because are we really getting much more from watching this live action than we did from the game? I think is a fair question. And if not, then maybe the point is just making the story more accessible to a broader audience. Because I've been trying to, you know, play with that. But again, there were a lot of highlights in this season that I'm like, damn, we got more here than we did in the game. Like Bill and Frank story.
I think that is, I was about to say that. Like that's the highlight.
The first episode where we got the backstory, we got more of Sarah, and we got their relationship, their dynamic a little bit more. So there were definitely some things that I felt were very similar. I think that towards the end, that started to taper off, like where we got a lot more backstory and things that were like different than the game. That I think that started to taper off. So I'm curious about that decision and like what you guys think of that. Of how, like, in the beginning, I feel like in the beginning of the seasons we were getting a lot more like context and background, and then towards the end it kind of just went like, okay, we need to stick to a script.
So I think the Vito's comment about Amazon making a God of War show and they're very nervous because of this show is a good testament to like video game adaptation movies, shows have been bad in the past.
Right.
This is one that stayed true to the source material and then developed off of it, but not in a way that completely deters from the story and from the focus of the show, of the game itself. So I think this show should be a lesson learned for movies, for series that come out that are adapted from not just video games, but books as well. Because we saw what happened with Game of Thrones, but to be fair, they didn't have any source material to work with. But with House of the Dragon, they do. And based off of, you know, what I've been seeing from people, they're staying true to the source material. So I think HBO is getting very lucky that they're getting showrunners and writers and whatever that are sticking to source material for stuff for these adaptations.
I think that's part of HBO's motto. I think they're not going to mess with an adaptation that you're tweaking things that are way too much. Like I don't think they would take on a project like that.
Right. And to answer Vito's question, basically comment over there, like, should the people at Amazon be nervous? I don't think they should be that nervous because they have source material to work with.
I think now this is a blueprint. Like you should be happy that now a show came in and gave you a blueprint of how to do it right. So now you just need to take pointers and do that.
Yeah. There are 2 recent God of War games that they can go off of and make a beautiful series out of that. So all you got to do is follow the formula was already written for you by whoever created the game, so just follow that, and the show will be good. Yeah, and it did change the landscape, Gabe. I agree. Amazon is pooping themselves for sure.
I don't think with Amazon, I mean, I think they have gotten good adaptations. I mean, you have The Boys. The Boys, the book actually sucks.
No way.
I've heard people say that the comics is not good. I heard people tell me, do not read the comics.
Wow.
Watch the show, which is something very interesting.
That is interesting.
So I'm there like, like, what if you can, adapt a material that's bad and turn it into something good? But again, like this is The Last of Us. This is
This is a tall task because the original source material was so good.
There's also Invincible, which I know has comics.
It's a good source material.
Yeah, and they're doing a good job adapting it because wow, that show is crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, but then the Lord of the Rings.
Bro, name follow.
So they took
an
L with that one.
I am still reading Lord of the Rings. I have not finished it. I'm nowhere near close to the books that I've started with Lord of the Rings, but that is another tough task that was done in the 2000s. Yeah. But again, not everything could be, shown on screen, right? But with The Last of Us, most of the things of story-wise was shown on screen.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
I haven't played the game recently, but I can't recall something that they didn't show. I think the only things they didn't show was, a lot of, killing infected and a lot
basically the gameplay. Basically the things that get you through the missions, which like if they showed that, every episode would be an hour and a half. And like I'm sure that people would end up getting the infected wouldn't have the same weight of like, oh my God, when they're on screen. And, it's fair for people to continue to debate this, whether or not this was the right call, because again, as we've mentioned,
still an ongoing debate. It's still going.
If they want Infected, season 2 is going to be it for you, I think, because there's going to be a lot.
If you want more brutality and action, I do think season 2 is going to be the one, like hands down.
Yeah,
I think the part 2 story needs to be split into 2 seasons.
I think they are.
You have to
really
split that into 2 seasons, because it is
I'm
the
so
scale
curious
of part 2 is 10 times larger compared to the first game.
Yeah,
right.
It's a huge story, and I hope they take their time because it's a hard story to develop. I think part 2 is going to be a hard task.
Yeah,
I think part 1 you could have followed a blueprint and really, been video game to live action. You could have been copy and paste. I think you could have done that really well. With part 2, on the other hand, you are bringing in themes that is going to piss a lot of people off.
Mm-hmm.
And you're bringing character decisions that are going to piss a lot of people off.
Yeah.
So how do you execute that well to the viewer where they're going to be like, dang. Like they're going to be like, wow, like they're really trying to change my perspective in all this. Because that's the point of part 2 is to showcase, other people's perspectives and how they view, this world that they're living in.
Yeah.
I would say that the way to achieve that is just stick to the source material, like everything else. I'm there, like in Game of Thrones, for example. I'm going to keep using this as an example because it's also HBO and it's a kind of a similar show where you start liking somebody and they die. So that's exactly the point. In Game of Thrones, I'm sure that there are audience members who probably got upset because it's like, dang, I really like this character. Boom, dead. Next episode, oh, I really like this character. Boom, dead. And the story goes on, and it's just a brutal world. This is also a brutal world. And I'm sure that people are not always going to be happy with certain things that happen, but it's not a happy world to begin with. It's supposed to be reality, and their reality is the world is shit. There's infected everywhere. People are dying, and they're trying to just survive out here. Mm-hmm. So that's basically my 2 cents on that.
Vitor's comment. The Last of Us Part 2 made me hate characters I love and love characters I hated.
It's very true.
Facts.
It's very true.
I think the biggest question mark for me with Part 2 is something we've talked about before, and obviously I'm not going to go super deep into this for people who haven't played the game, but it's the timeline and how they're going to go about the way they set up the season. Because I think that they have some creative license here to how they tell the story. I think the story should stay the same, but in what order they tell the story is going to be very key. And I'm very curious to see how that goes.
Yes, it's very key. My one.
We agree.
We've agreed on how they should address this.
And the slight spoiler would be, we think they should change it.
Yeah.
The way that the show, the timeline
introduces the new characters.
Things. Yeah. It should be a little different. But not to change the source material, but I think it would hit harder for people.
It definitely would hit
if they change the timeline.
Like, I'm just gonna give you this. Like, imagine if what happens in the beginning.
I'm just Gabe. That's a spoiler because I didn't finish. So shut up. I'm just kidding. Stop spoiling the game for me, bro. Not that far into it yet. But here's the thing. I popped into Atlas's stream actually while he was prepping for the show coming out. He was playing part 2, and I popped in and I saw that Gabe is describing, and I was like, this looks like a spoiler. I'm clicking off. So yeah, I don't want to know.
Get me out.
I don't want to know until I get there, and then I'll decide for myself whether it's good or bad.
Yeah. All right. So there was a question that I brought up a couple episodes back, where I asked if playing the game versus watching the show, which one do you prefer better? Which one was the better experience? And you said you couldn't answer this at that moment. And I'm wondering, after you guys have played the game and you guys have watched the show, out of those two, which one you think just hit different?
Ask me after I play part 1 again. Because it's been a minute. So for me to answer that question now would be unfair. And I think, again, like, it's the thing that we talked about in the beginning is like that first time that you get that story that you really love, you can't replace that.
You can't.
And so for that reason, I think my answer is going to be the game hits harder because of the fact that that was my first experience with this story, and it just, like, everything hit home. And now seeing it again, it's like, oh my God. But it doesn't hit the same because and I think the reason it doesn't hit the same is because I know what's happening.
Yeah.
For me, anyway, that's exactly what I felt. It's not because the emotion was portrayed wrong. It's not because the tone wasn't there. It's not any of that stuff. Everything was done brilliantly. It's just the fact that I know what's coming.
Yeah, for me, I would say that the game hits harder. And the reason for that is because you are playing as those characters, and in a way you are becoming them because
you create an emotional attachment to them. Yeah.
Versus watching them on screen and seeing what they're going through. So gaming gives you a little bit of a different element. And also the games, you're spending so much more time with them, and you're seeing all the little details of the progression of the story. So that naturally, to me, will make me more engaged and attracted to the game than to the show. Not to knock on the show. The show is fantastic. But there's just something about the gaming element and putting you in there, and you have the controller in your hands and you're controlling Joel and doing all the stuff and spending all that time, because the game is what, like 20, 30 hours, something like that?
Yeah.
That makes you feel more attached to it.
Yeah. And I think what's beautiful about all this, you know, this is a celebration because what's happening is people who don't play video games are buying consoles and are downloading to play this game,
bro.
And that's amazing to see because it's showing a medium that has amazing games. You know, Red Dead Redemption 2. You have any of the Red Deads. You know.
Yeah. Oh my God! If they make a Red Dead series,
so it's the GTA's, like those are great stories that have, you know, impacted a lot of people and have, you know, people were playing them as the characters and they felt like as the characters. So it's awesome just to see people who don't play video games are now turning into a medium that has an insane amount of games with great freaking stories, right? And I think when I was watching this, when the first episode aired, in my head, I was like, yo, this is literally a celebration. This is a celebration because this is a story that has impacted my life in so many ways. I'm going to keep saying this multiple times. Like it has impacted my life in so many ways. And just to see it on the screen, right, being live action, Kingdom Hearts is another great story.
They cannot adapt that, please.
You cannot adapt it. But just to see a story that you played now be, you know, filmed and brought to life on a TV show, like it's just awesome to see because more people can watch it.
Yeah, now I can talk about The Last of Us with people who haven't played the game,
because
which is dope.
It's so funny because when I would talk about The Last of Us to people, they'd be like, "Oh, huh? Really?"
Because it's in a video game, like they don't turn people off. And people are like, video game, like that. Yeah. There's no way. It's silly.
I literally go like, yo, but like, bro, you have to play it. You play video? Like, yeah, play this game, please. It's like, I was literally like going to people, please play the game.
But it's like to people who play video games, it's one thing. But to people who don't play video games, you trying to describe to them the emotion that you got from playing the story out sounds ludicrous. It sounds crazy. Because people are like, it's games. Like, it's silly. Like, that's how I would explain it to, like, my parents. My parents would be like, what the hell are you talking about? But if they had, you know, if I don't know if
sit
they
down and watch,
they don't
watch this.
play or something.
Non-gamers don't really understand that games can have stories.
Oh, 100%.
That's the thing. Like, games can have very deep and meaningful stories. There are so many games like that. And so, yeah, I'm glad that this is bringing some non-gamers to potentially become gamers. Because I do think that gaming is the future of storytelling beyond movies and TV shows. I feel like the video games will develop to be even more popular than that.
I mean,
It's a little early, but I think so.
it is early, but look what we're seeing with Hogwarts Legacy. You know,
Oh, yeah.
it's like it's the same thing. People are buying consoles just because they want to play the game, and because Harry Potter has been impactful in so many people's lives. Right, that story is, you know, it's created a huge fandom, right? And this goes the same with The Last of Us. You know, it created a huge community, people who play the game, and now it's gone worldwide with people who usually don't play video games, which is crazy, and it's beautiful to see. And sticking to the season finale, what are your overall thoughts on Pedro Pascal's performance as Joel and Bella Ramsey's performance as Ellie? We got a full story with them, and a lot of people were doubting Bella Ramsey. A lot of people were saying, hey, I don't think she's the one. Bad casting, and just going off and not, you know, waiting until we saw the full story.
Right.
And I'm gonna say this girl will get nominated for an Emmy, and
she deserves it,
and she will win it. And that goes with Pedro Pascal. I don't know what show's coming out next. Obviously, we have Succession, which will compete with it, but what those two brought out, it is really hard, especially episode 8.
Hard to compete with. But I agree with Mateos, 10 out of 10 on both their performances. That's me. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Bella Ramsey and Pedro Pascal, 10 out of 10 for me.
Fire.
Although I will say, when we were watching episode 8 and I saw Troy Baker and I heard the Joel voice coming out of him and I saw his acting chops, and after seeing Ashley Johnson in this, I wish that there was an alternate universe where we could see those two play those characters in a show version of this as well. I don't know.
I'm not going to lie to you. I disagree with you. And I'm going to tell you why.
Disagree.
And it's fine.
Totally
and
fine.
If and your opinion is valid because
100%.
I like the idea. I actually liked hearing their voice because I was like, oh my God, it's cool. It brought like the nostalgia back and it just felt cool to hear it. But for someone who, as I was mentioning, is coming into this with already knowing the story, already loving the story, and now experiencing it for a second time, I did want something different. Like I was wanting to experience something a little bit different. And I think that if I had gotten Troy Baker as Joel and Ashley Johnson as Ellie, like the entire time, I would have just been like, I'm just watching the game play out like the entire time. And I maybe would have been
go on YouTube and just watch.
Yeah, I'll just watch the walkthroughs. And the thing is, like, no disrespect to Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson, they're not Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey, bro. Those two are serious actors. Like these two will be like the cream of the crop in Hollywood for a while. Pedro Pascal is name a role he didn't kill.
When he first started?
Yeah,
right?
maybe when he first started.
I
But
don't know anything. I don't know his early.
He wasn't like an American Pie, I believe.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But like,
There you go.
but like TV shows, bro, he kills every TV show role. Narcos, murdered it. Game of Thrones, murdered it. Mandalorian, murdered it. Joel, murdered it. And he takes on high level, like, important things that people are going to scrutinize, and he does it. And I'm loving it, bro. I love Pedro Pascal. I really liked him as Joel. And then to go on Bella Ramsey, you know, it was almost like a different portrayal of Ellie at times, which I enjoyed because she brought something to the character that I didn't get from the Ellie in the game, and I really appreciated her performance for that. So I would have loved to. I love what they did, and I wouldn't change the casting at all. I really appreciated what they brought to the story.
No, I'm with you on that.
I wouldn't
bro.
change the casting. I would just wish that there's an alternate.
You just wanted to see them in
Universe.
live action format.
Oh yeah, man. Because like, here's the thing: they can act because they got hired to do the original game as the actors, which means they literally had to act the whole thing out. They were wearing motion capture suits. They were doing the whole bit, the voice acting, everything. That's acting.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
they can definitely do it live action and nail it.
Mm-hmm.
I was curious. I'm curious to see what that would look like.
You know, they have done it in a play.
Really?
They presented it as a play.
Both of them.
Yeah, it was a I think it was a private play. You had to like get invited or something.
Oh my
And they
God.
presented the
I'm
entire thing.
looking for that right
They
after
have it
this.
on YouTube. They have it on YouTube.
I am looking it up
They have
right
it on
after
YouTube
this.
where they performed scenes of the game for an audience.
Oh my god!
That's
I need to see it.
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm hoping for. I need to see that. So I'm gonna go look at that
That's
right
crazy.
after this.
The-
And what up, hotties? Is that Guy? Guy, is that you? Confirmed. GDLZ. I feel like that's Guy. What up, baby?
Guy, let us know what you thought, man. Oh my gosh, that was this. I honestly don't know what else to say.
I
That was incredible.
I can't wait for part 2 to like absolutely ruin my life.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Keep me
if
up at night.
this has ruined your life, yeah, just wait for part.
Yeah,
two.
if you I'm gonna this is a PSA. Let's just go and talk right into the camera for this one. If this season like tore you apart, good luck.
That's a good point.
Good luck for part 2.
That is a great point.
That's a good
Guy.
point, Guy.
You might want to get a therapist for part 2.
Yeah.
Like 1000%.
And Guy has a good point that Pedro Pascal or Joel looks like the villain now.
Yeah.
In this whole thing.
Which is gonna make part 2 so interesting.
Very.
So interesting.
Yeah.
Those are the dynamics that I think I'm excited to see in show format.
Yeah.
I think that's gonna play very, like there's gonna be more that can be elevated through seeing it on a TV show.
Yeah, because it's a very emotional dynamic,
Yeah,
right? Because it
for
deals
sure.
with. I can't say anything else.
We
It
don't want to
yeah, I
spoil
can't
for the
say
people
anything
out there.
But
Yeah.
it's absolutely.
By the
insane.
way, guys, we have a poll going on right now. If you liked season 1, vote yes or no. So you can just do exclamation point vote and then put 1 for yes, 2 for no. Let's see what it comes out to. What did we say here? Changing the whole subject. I wish Resident Evil had the same treatment, even though the story is not even as great like The Last of Us.
Got all.
That's true.
Look at
I'm gonna
Carl.
have to play part 2 before it comes out. Can't handle it, bro. Nah, I don't know.
Nah, dog.
I
I
don't
might
know.
tell you to wait.
Yeah.
Carol, it's up to you. It's up to you.
It's
I'd
definitely
say
up
it's
to you.
up to you.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it's like with books, bro. It's like with books. It's some people love to read the book before, or some people are like, you know what, I'm just gonna wait for the movie. It's
Yeah.
it's your decision.
It is.
I'm the person who likes to read the story before.
Yeah.
And I like to see, it play and and then see it visually.
Mm.
But yeah, I don't.
I'm gonna tell you right now, if I could go back in time and tell the me that like played part 1 of The Last of Us, be like, don't play it. Don't play it.
2013, you?
Yeah. Don't
Oh
play
my
it.
God.
Don't play it. Because
all.
I
No.
so badly want to be a person who's experiencing this for the first time, bro. Like I can't tell you how much I want to be a person who has never played the game.
Yeah.
To feel what this story is.
I
because-
agree with that.
Because I'm
as
telling
well,
you,
yeah.
that feeling that we first had when we played it, like I want to say they captured that, but I'm not a good judge of it because I can't recreate that first feeling.
You guys have seen Severance, right?
Yes.
It's almost like I want my brain
Yeah,
severed.
bro. Get my brain
I can
severed
leave.
just so I can watch.
Go to my work
Facts.
life and play The Last of Us over there.
Facts. One life is you're just playing
Experience it
The
again.
Last of Us, and the
Yeah.
other life you're just watching.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be crazy.
That'd be lit.
No.
Mateos has a really good question over there. He said, do you think the ending hit or do you think something was missing? Okay. For me, I don't feel like it hit as hard just because I saw it coming, right? I know it from the game. But do I think that they did a good portrayal of it from the game? Absolutely.
Yeah.
The one interesting choice I thought they made was the whole Joel going through and that little montage of him going through the whole thing and killing people with the very soft like violin
I agree.
The Last of Us thing. I thought that moment was going to be a lot more like vicious
Dramatic.
and like
Hands on
boom,
just
boom, boom, boom,
Hand,
boom.
like
Yeah,
handheld, moving all over the place.
that's what I was expecting. But I can see what the thought process was there, why they were trying to do it that way.
Yeah. Do you know what the feeling that it gave me? I was trying to put myself in the shoes of someone who didn't know what was happening, and I felt like the score in that scene made it like pretty obvious what was gonna happen almost. You know what I mean? Like the
Yeah.
somber tone of it and like kind of what the vibe, like it kind of led you to believe like, okay, he's gonna have to make a really tough decision and that's gonna happen.
He's
But
gonna
like,
end up saving her.
yeah,
and all
maybe
that,
maybe it could have been more ambiguous and more like, oh, you don't know what's gonna happen. Could Joel die here trying to save her, kind of thing? But I don't know. I felt like tell me if you haven't played the game. Did you see that coming the whole time? Like, did you see exactly what was gonna happen as soon as Joel found out that the cure would kill Ellie? Did you know that he was gonna save her and whatnot?
Yeah.
Because I think that's what I got from it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think for me, from a director standpoint, what the director I think was trying to do in that scene was trying to showcase Joel just blacking out, and because when he made that first kill, his decision was already made.
Yeah.
When he makes that first kill, decision's already made. He's going to save Ellie,
Right.
and that's why you put the score in the background and you just put the ringing noise. The man is not thinking.
Mm-hmm.
The man had already made his decision. So I think that was the approach that they took with it, and that was the
fair.
approach in the video game as well.
It's fair. You know what I would have maybe loved, and maybe it would have been too like cliche or on the nose, but like I wonder if in the midst of that, like they could have put a flashback to him holding Sarah.
Oh my gosh!
You know what I mean? Like in the
Wow, that
midst
would have
of
been
him,
Wow.
in the midst of him like going through all that stuff, all you see is him flashing and being like the despair of losing your daughter, and that parallel. I think that would have hit home harder for me. That maybe that's the one thing that
Yeah.
was missing. I think if they did that, and it would have really hit home like why he's blacking out and like why he's his decision in his mind is made and there's no hard choice for him.
It's a valid point. I feel like
Yeah.
that would have been very impactful.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
impactful. Guy has another question. He says, "Do you think Joel is being selfish because of the hole that losing his daughter left with him, or left him with? Ellie fills that void, and he doesn't want to lose her, even if the world is doomed forever now." Yeah, we mentioned this a little bit earlier, and I do think he's trying to fill the void. He is being selfish, but at the same time, like, what would you do if you were in his shoes? You know, would you let her die in a possibly experimental procedure? It's tough. We talked about the whole, would a parent allow their kid to be sacrificed for this? And I don't think any of them would. So
Abraham for the Bible would do it because he's a G, but it's different.
Well,
different
well,
gravy.
he technically didn't do it,
But he would have.
but
Yeah,
he
was about
he
it.
had the intention to.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And God was like, nah. So yeah.
Exactly.
But Carol says, yeah, I kind of only thought about that after I saw the two pics side by side on Twitter. That got me. Oh, so somebody on Twitter did the thing better than the show did on that moment, at least.
What?
The comparison. She's talking about the comparison of holding his daughter and
And holding Ellie.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Because
So
I think that parallel, in my mind, I was like, there it is. And then I was just waiting for it to kind of pop up on screen and they didn't do it.
Yeah.
And maybe it was too on the nose. Maybe it would have not hit and it would have been too obvious, but I feel like it would have.
I feel like maybe they played with it because
Maybe.
during the season we did get the parallel when he went back to Jackson. Remember when he saw a girl that looked
Mhm.
like Sarah?
Mm-hmm.
So I think maybe Neil and Craig, they were like, let's play with it, and I think maybe it didn't fit the vibe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. We won't know unless maybe there's an uncut editing scene, whatever.
Director's cut.
Yeah,
something.
maybe.
Yeah, who knows?
Maybe.
So yeah, it's a tough decision to make. I
Yeah.
think on how you do that scene.
Yeah,
Do you
but I
guys
thought
feel like that episode was too short? Because I know we were coming up this week, 43 minutes long. Do you feel like it was too short?
Maybe
Yeah.
a little bit.
You want to know why? Because I think the one thing about the episode being short is just like it's built up so much to all of this, and then you're tying the bow on this, or not really, because it's kind of open ended. What happens with a 40-minute episode, and it's like somebody to be like, what?
Usually with shows, the last, episode
episode
is
is-
usually not the longest, but
It's fairly long.
fairly long.
Yeah. So I thought that was an interesting decision. I need to sit with this more. Like, I don't know. I feel like I haven't been able to really digest like what I think of it. But yeah, I do think it was a little odd that it was the shortest. But like it made sense in the story. Like this was the last piece to be told, and there wasn't a lot left of the plot to be told. So what are you
Yeah.
gonna do?
No, yeah, because in a game when you get to that point, it's fairly quick,
Mm-hmm.
even with gameplay. I feel as if you get in there, you get in the hospital, you shooting everyone, you get Ellie, Marlene thing. It literally happens, copy and paste. So I don't think the only way they would have maybe made this longer was with,
more backstory things,
flashback, backstory.
Yeah,
she's just gonna milk it.
yeah.
Yeah.
It would be milking it. So maybe it's not. Maybe we got exactly what we needed, and I'm gonna be very curious to get reactions of people who have not played the game.
Oh, they're gonna be torn.
I really
think they're gonna be
need to
torn.
see, because I want people to know. I wanted to know if it hit for them.
Yeah, because for a finale,
Mateos, I think Mateos hasn't played the game yet.
Caro
Right.
hasn't
Caro
played.
Holler, so
Right.
and they're
But
saying,
they're saying it's
Caro
good,
said it hit,
Yeah.
right?
the only thing is, usually for a finale of a season, they leave you off with like a giant cliffhanger or something. They leave you wanting more, or things unanswered. They did leave things unanswered in this, but in a very anticlimactic way. She just simply asks him, "Tell me that everything you said about the Fireflies is true, or swear to me." And he says, "I swear." And she's like, "Okay." And it just cuts to black. It's very anticlimactic.
But you know why?
Don't know
but
why.
you know why?
Yeah, it's
because
done differently, and that's awesome that they do it. That they, don't stick to the.
But it has to do with
formula.
part two.
It has to do with the beginning episodes. Ellie tells Joel, "Whatever you tell me, I'm with you." She
Yeah,
says that.
True.
So Joe answering that question, she's like, "All right, I got my closure," because she had the trust that Ellie has for Joel is insane. Bro. She trusts him 100%.
Yeah.
She believes him on everything. So for him to just say, "No, I swear," she's like, "All right." That settles it.
I don't know though, because I'm gonna be real with you. You could see, to me, in Bella Ramsey's portrayal, you could tell there's doubt.
Because we're seeing because what they did differently here, I think, this Pedro Pascal, when he's driving after, you can see the guilt that he's having. You can see that he's not the guilt, but he's struggling with the decision that he just made. And I think in the game version, we don't really get that emotion.
Yeah. Mateos is saying, I haven't played, but I'm checking the PlayStation Store right now, and it's $69.99. It's crazy for a story mode game, bro. You best believe they're gonna milk all the money they can from like people coming from this to play the game, and two, it's worth every penny.
Yeah, and to be honest, the story mode games I think should be worth more than multiplayer games, because there's more effort put into them, in my opinion.
There is. I think the issue is just, this is a whole different discussion, but replay value and stuff like that. I think
but the thing is, with the show, like, it's free marketing for the game, basically.
Yeah, no, 100%.
So they're like, "Oh, we remastered it. Yeah, $69.99.
Yeah, no,
here we go."
No, I agree with you. That's why they're
They're not gonna give you a discount.
You don't think they're gonna remaster it again when Part 2 comes out? Season 2 comes out. They're gonna remaster
Part 2.
By then, 3 years from now, they're gonna remaster Part 2 in 8K, 60 frames per second for you to play on your PS7 or whatever the heck it is. And they're gonna milk probably $89.99 from you at that point.
Guy is saying the right thing there. I've played the game like 3 times. I'll probably play it again, which is 100%.
Yeah,
fair.
no, I'm with you on that, Guy. Vitu said that she didn't really believe Joel in the game either, though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she goes.
I haven't seen that.
She goes. Okay.
Yeah.
It's the same. It feels like it's the
the
same
same
delivery.
thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I need to see it back then.
I just think from the Joel version in this, you can see that he's more, the guilt in him is greater, I think, in the live action. But yeah.
Because I do remember, maybe it's because I played the first one so many years ago and my thought process is different now, but I did see that part as being like, dang, Joel like did all of that to save her. But then now I have a different train of thought where it's like, dang, Joel did that to save her, but like he's screwing humanity at the same time.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah,
I played. It's crazy. So the first time I played this game, I was 13 years old. So I was really young, and you're a young kid. Perception is different. The way you see things is different. So when I saw that, I was like, heck yeah. Let's go, Joel, saving her. But after playing the game multiple times, I'm like, yo, Joel, what are you doing, man? But then I'm like, wait, but like, that's like your daughter. So then that's when you start having the conflicts.
That's just really good story writing.
Yeah, it's incredible writing.
It makes you just as torn as the character to make go through that decision.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's crazy? Releasing an unfinished game for $70 nowadays.
What's
Cyberpunk,
unfinished?
Bro.
Cyberpunk.
Oh, Cyberpunk.
Yeah, Cyberpunk is one of those
Oh,
games.
facts. I thought you were talking about The
Unfinished?
Last of Us. I was like, what are you
No,
talking
no, no.
about?
He's talking about.
Cyberpunk.
Nah, Cyberpunk was bad at launch, but right now it's like really
Yeah,
good.
but it was unfinished at launch.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, not unfinished. It was buggy, like extremely buggy. But yeah. Season 2, episode 1 is going to be crazy. If you know, you know.
See,
Yeah.
that's where
we're wondering.
if they take a different
I
approach.
think they're for the people who know, and we're not gonna spoil.
Please don't spoil it in the comments.
Don't
please
spoil it in the
don't.
comments.
Please,
Like
please.
be nice to people who haven't seen it. I wonder if they're gonna fake everybody out,
I think they have to.
because that's how you give back. I think to the people who've played the game is you're like, we're keeping straight to the source material, but we're gonna shake things up with the way we tell this story, or the order which we tell the story. And if they do that, I'm gonna go crazy.
After this, I want you guys to explain to me that, because if I'm thinking it's what he's saying, that happens a little bit further down the line, maybe. If
no.
I'm thinking, but I don't know. I might be not thinking of the correct
Yeah, we
thing.
can we can touch base after that.
I feel like they would wait a little bit. Yeah, they probably will.
I think they
probably
will. Carol's like, everybody's been saying I'm gonna be in shambles. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
you will.
Yeah,
Yeah, you will.
you will.
For sure.
Yeah. Just do your best on trying to stay away from the spoilers, because
Yeah.
they are everywhere.
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
I mean, if you're really feeling like you're gonna not be able to avoid spoilers, then go ahead and play part 2
Yeah,
so that
just
you can
play
get
it.
it on yourself and not get it spoiled. But I would say if you can wait.
Yeah.
That's me. That's my personal opinion.
It's true. And it's freaking freezing in here now. I'm
So-
dying. My feet are.
Yeah, my feet are brick.
It's because we opened the window because it gets hot in here because of the lights and stuff.
Yeah.
But now it's brick.
Yeah.
It's a little too cold.
Wow.
So maybe that's our sign, boys. To
Yeah.
All right. No. We're not there yet.
We
We're not there yet.
gotta rate the season.
So-
we gotta rate it.
This is what you wanted to do, is rate the season.
Oh my god. Okay.
Okay.
Shut the window first.
Let me shut the window first. Hold on. It's cold.
We gotta rate the
break.
season.
It's break.
So
Hold
tell
on.
me, Abraham. I'm gonna ask him in place of Davi
Davi's
while
place.
he shuts the window because it's brick in here.
But
What is your score overall for season 1? How would you rate it? And maybe try your best not to compare it to the game.
yeah. Okay.
That's tough.
That's really hard.
That's tough.
All right, fine. Do you wanna-
No. I'm gonna try my best. I think they killed this story. I think they did it justice, and I think what they wanted to portray, they did, and they did it excellently. We got a lot of really great acting performances. We got a lot of things that were like, the negatives were so nitpicky. Like the entire season, when we had negatives to pick out,
It's true.
it was so nitpicky. It was little things that we were just like, yo, maybe this, maybe that. So I think, honestly, I'm going to give this season a very solid 9.5.
Wow.
Great
I mean,
score.
Yo. Guy is saying the same thing that you said. Part
What?
of me never wishes I played the game.
Bro, and that's exactly it, because I think this is what makes me think that the show did a really good job, is that I keep wishing that I didn't play the game. Because if I think that the game did better, I'd be like, screw this. I wish they never did this. I wish they never adapted it. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
the fact that I'm like, I wish I never played the game, makes me think that they did a really good job adapting this.
Then I think you should change your score to a 10.
I think you should keep your opinions to yourself and give your own score.
Rip.
Nah, I'm gonna stick with 9.5 because Kathleen.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's
I'm
my
gonna be more harsh than you. I'm gonna give a full point deduction. It's a 9 because of Kathleen.
It's a 9.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a 9 for me.
Because of
Catholic.
one character.
There's one character that lasted 2 episodes.
She did. She got more screen time for me than she deserved.
Yeah, she got more screen
There
time
were-
than a lot of other characters. I would have wanted to see the
That's
Sam
true.
and Henry last for
Bro,
2 episodes.
I can give you 3 different characters. Sam and Henry. We could have gotten David. We could have gotten more
Tess.
of the background with Tess. We could have gotten
Yeah.
more background with
Tess got 2 episodes.
Marlene and her.
Fair.
That whole discussion we had. Marlene coming to the conclusion that this is what's going to happen to Ellie. We could have gotten so many other backstories I think would have been more like impactful. And honestly, the performance was the one in this entire season that I was like, she's not hitting everybody else.
Oh yeah, I'm with you.
She's not on the same level as all the other actors.
100%.
Also, she's a bitch for real. Yeah, I agree.
I think her character. I think the way they wanted to write her character made sense.
I just think the casting,
the person who played her was not working for us.
I honestly think it was a casting thing that was probably the biggest issue.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. With me, it's hard.
Just say it, bro. I know you're gonna give it a 10.
I'm not giving it. Yeah,
Shut up. You went to tell me that I should give it a 10.
No,
so if you want to give it a 10, say it with chest. Give it a 10.
No. Because y'all brought up a valid thing, which was Kathleen, which we have all agreed on.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, if you go back and watch, your favorite season of all time or what show it is, I'm pretty sure you might find something that, oh wait, maybe this might be different. Maybe I didn't like this character. I didn't, I don't think.
The only thing I'm gonna say is the one show that to my and this is like a personal thing. Breaking Bad for me is one of the best shows of all time.
No, I agree.
I've seen Breaking Bad 4 or 5 times, and I cannot tell you one plot line I would change.
Yeah, it's true.
That's valid.
There's not one plot line that I'm like, they should have done this. No, none.
That's valid.
That is the one show that
None.
I can say from beginning to end is perfect.
Perfect.
It's perfect.
It's
Breaking
perfect
Bad.
because of the development. It's perfect because if you are a person who, it's perfect because of development. But put yourself watching season 1 on its own.
Oh yeah. No, it's slow.
But it has to.
But when you put it in the
But
full,
you put again,
in the
you
full
pull
picture.
it in the full picture.
But this is the thing. I wasn't watching it being like, oh my god, this sucks. I was just like, this is just slow. But as it picked up, you're like, okay, I understand why it was slow and why we needed to start slow and ramp up.
Yeah.
So I think that, and this is why it was hard rating the individual episodes, because now that you're seeing it from a whole season perspective, it's I think you have more context to be able to rate better. So that's why for me, I think 9.5 with those one thing that has been bugging me. But
and
that's
last
really
thing about Breaking Bad, I've never seen a show where they can progressively get into deeper and deeper and deeper shit and somehow get out of it. Somehow I have a resolution to it.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
It's impressive. It's impressive.
It's incredible.
Yes, until the end.
Yeah, it's incredible.
But
Stop
then-
spoiling it for people. Anyway,
And then they go and do a spinoff. That's incredible.
yeah, I
Yes,
have to see Better
okay,
Call Saul. I have
yeah.
to see that.
So
Better
yeah,
Call Saul, I
see
mean,
that.
there's also the prequel movie on Netflix.
that was kind of
El
That's kinda-
Camino.
El Camino.
El Cameo, bro. It's El Cameo.
Cameo.
That's what that movie is. El Cameo. Guy
Enough about
said
Breaking Bad. This is not a Breaking Bad podcast.
It's not.
Pedro Pascal was great. What do you think of Hugh Jackman playing Joel? Dude, when I saw Logan and I saw Hugh Jackman and
Yeah.
the girl, I was like, damn,
That was
they
the
would be
casting in
great
my
for The
head.
Last of Us.
I think that was the casting in everyone's head, but I think we already saw Hugh Jackman in that role,
Yeah.
and maybe they were like,
It would have just been talking
Yeah.
about Logan again.
yeah.
It would have just been like, oh, we're talking about Logan.
and everyone comparing.
Well, maybe.
Logan.
Maybe.
But then you can make that argument with Pedro Pascal and The Mandalorian.
Yeah, but
maybe it's
Logan is more on the nose because it's like
it's literally
father
daughter.
Yeah, it's the same
I
kind
would
of
say
like
maybe
father
because
adoptive daughter.
a lot of me watching Logan, I was picturing The Last of Us
Yeah.
for the most part. So
maybe it could have
yeah.
been an inspiration from The Last of Us.
Now
but,
it's hot in here.
yeah. I mean, like, y'all
Really?
made me close the window.
I have the little fan blowing red at me, so I'm still
So-
cold.
But with that being said, y'all, it's a 10 for me.
It's a 10 for you?
Yeah, it is a 10.
Whoa, you meandered like crazy to avoid giving it a 10. And then
Just
you
let him
just
do his
gave
thing,
it,
bro.
just dropped
Let him
it.
do his thing. If
Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
10 for Davi, it's a 10.
It's a 10. Whatever. I already,
Jeez.
after I finished it, you guys saw me. I gave it a freaking standing ovation.
Chat,
As
you
I
guys,
said,
put your scores right
Put your
there, too.
scores
I want to
down
see
on
them.
what you thought. Like I
want to
said,
see your scores as well.
like I said, I have played.
Vito, yeah, take those clothes off, buddy. Come on.
Yeah.
It's getting hot in here.
This is a kid's show.
Yeah, man.
This is a family-friendly
Yeah.
show.
Actually, it's not because I had to check off not made for kids before putting it on the stream.
Just
so
kidding,
not.
but it's still not that type of live stream.
Wrong website.
No, yeah.
Just
Do you?
saying.
Yeah. 6.9.
6.9.
Nice.
Okay.
Cool. Great score.
Oh yeah, like as I was saying, I gave it. I stood up. If when you guys see our live reaction, I stood up. I gave it a standing ovation. Is because when you have an emotional connection to a story like this, and you see it be portrayed and adapted really well from the original source material to another source material, another medium, it's a celebration, right? It's a moment where honestly, I was just happy to be watching it. That was literally me. Every single time, I'm like, yes, I'm ready to see probably one of the best adapted projects I've ever seen in my life. You know, it comes up to it. I'm being so serious. It literally comes up to, you know, the rankings that I have with Lord of the Rings, where I come up. You know, those are stories that will forever be in my life. That has, you know, hit me in my heart forever. And that's The Last of Us. And to see it in another medium, same thing.
Yeah.
So it's a
Very
10.
good.
It's a 10. They did it justice.
Vito
Yeah,
gave it a
just
10. Gabe said he hasn't finished. Gabe, get good, bro. Get good.
Yeah, get better, bro. What the hell? Figure it out.
And Guy says playing the game for the first time, I remember crying at the end.
Bro,
And
I cried. I cried.
He's crying right now just thinking about it.
No, I cried in this episode. It's just like it's.
You'll see. He gave it
Bro.
a standing ovation at the end.
Yeah, I did.
And Andy, dead ass. Andy,
like,
welcome.
Look, I understand. Like again, I understand the Kathleen thing. Like I do agree. You know, the criticism, but when you look at what they've done with this story and how they made it accessible for other audiences, and they did exactly what needed to be done, like and what they wanted to show. It's not a copy and paste of the video game, but it is a It's
a very true retelling.
It's a
Very accurate
retelling, a very
retelling.
accurate retelling. Like, I don't know what else to say, because for me, the game is a 10 out of 10. And they retold it very well. 10 out of 10.
Fair.
You know?
Cool.
I'm still giving you a 9 for Kathleen.
Yeah, I still give it a 9.5.
I know, yeah.
But I
you
agree.
guys are,
Because to me, it would have to be perfect. My 10 is like, this is perfect. I don't find a flaw. I have no negative things to say. And because I did have a criticism, then
That's fine.
But I'm going
That's
to tell you
fine.
right now, I'm going to be the first person waiting to, and this is why also I don't want to play part 2, because I'm ready for season 2, even though we're so far away from it. We're not going to get it for years. Like, yeah. So, you know, I'm ready to give it a 10. I'm ready to give it 10, and I know that they can do it. I know
But
that
part
they can do
2, yeah. You definitely have to. I think you got to work with the narratives in part 2.
Yep.
That's my thought process.
I think you got a lot more to play around.
Yes.
You got a lot more to play around
with.
For part 2, so I'm super excited for that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But y'all, with that being said, guys, we are calling it a night. We appreciate y'all being here. We love you guys, and it's been an insane conversation. Thank you guys for people who commented. We love you guys. Like this video, subscribe to our channel, and yes, we are still going to be watching shows. We will announce the show that we're going to be reacting to soon. But again, we love you guys. See you soon.
Peace.